it appeals to the masses, you know. It's like Jay Shetty. It's just like well marketed for simple cunts. Yeah.
This is your entry point into that world.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Cool.
Basically. But nah, good experience nonetheless.
Nice.
So, welcome to the potty, Ali. Today on the potty we have Alistair, which is the second half of being acupuncture. So I've had Ree on a couple of times and I wanted to
Keeping it out.
get the king on board. What's your actual
The title.
role? Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, because Ray was just like...
It's like Chinese medicine practitioner, which sounds it just rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
I'm an acupuncturist and a herbalist, but it's clunky saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things you like can't say as well.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then all the other stuff that we do in clinic is just like, it doesn't really have too much of a name. So
For sure. I think, yeah. You end up being... Yeah, you guys have created something that's very different. Hey. So, mental. But yeah, Ali has some of the most amazing wisdom that I've ever witnessed. So
Thank you.
yeah, and advice, always his advice for everything under the sun. Yeah, I'm curious about, like, you've been doing some kind of like men's empowerment sort of retreaty sort of things.
Yeah.
What's the energy like on one of those?
So the organisation is called Mankind Project, and basically what they're trying to do is build emotionally intelligent and responsible men. It's like as a real kind of like baseline thing.
Yeah.
And what they offer is like a method for that to be done. They've got like certain ways in which they kind of do that, and it's a lot about like trying to teach men how to understand their feelings.
Yeah.
Very few of us have healthy role models on our feelings.
For sure, yeah.
And then just trying to build virtues that men traditionally have had that are healthy for society.
Yeah.
So like accountability, integrity, honesty, blah 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 blah. All the basics that everyone kind of should have.
Yeah.
But we kind of bullshit ourselves into not having.
Yeah, I feel like I noticed a bit of a theme there, which is where do you think that gets lost? Like, is it just not having somebody to bounce off, or not having a role model, or just not being taught, or just experiences?
I think that culturally things have changed probably over the last 100 years.
Yeah.
Where, like, even like pre-industrial revolution, it was like you as a boy you would go and learn a trade from a man.
Yeah.
So like your dad was a baker or whatever, and you go and learn from him how to bake.
Yeah.
And then like you would have like direct transmission of all these kind of like skills and values and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then like society changed a lot. I guess society changed a lot with the Industrial Revolution, where people kind of like went into factories. Yeah. And then like it's changed again.
Interesting.
Like obviously more recently, but like a lot of those kind of like direct skills have been lost, and the man of the house would then leave the children and the like traditionally the wife and go off to their job for however many hours a day and come back, and they would have not much to do with the boys that they were raising.
Yeah, fair. I never thought about it like that. It's clear.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense, actually.
So I guess there's a lot of there's been a lot of change in society.
Yeah.
And then there's like, you know, culture just changing dramatically in terms of like television, the internet, social media, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Where people don't really pick up the skills, and they like learn other things essentially off pop culture.
Yeah, true that. And do you think there's like, I guess, a calling that happens within yourself to go to a project like that, or do you think that it's something we need to be pushing people into? Not pushing, never want to push, but it's like, just planting the seed, if you will.
Yeah, I guess for me it was, I've only been involved with it for like 9 months or so.
Yeah.
And last year I felt a little bit stagnant.
Yeah.
My friend had been involved with it for quite a while, and I said to him, there's this weekend coming up with this Mankind Project thing, do you reckon I should do it? And all he said was like, yeah.
Cool.
And that was it, and I was like, oh fuck, now I have to do it. But I was entering into it as like, this will be like some personal development, and like a little bit of growth, and might be a catalyst for some cool changes.
Yeah.
And I got heaps out of it.
Yeah.
And I've like continued to be involved in it.
Yeah.
But a lot of people find themselves to that kind of thing through crisis.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So like they've had a relationship breakdown, they've had like, complete loss of direction in life, they've had like something big happen.
Yeah.
That they've been like, oh holy fuck, I gotta go and fix this. Yeah, and then they stumble across it through whatever it is.
Yeah.
And try to essentially address that acute problem in their life. And in that process then discover that there's probably some underlying issues throughout their whole life that need to be addressed that led to that crisis. So yeah, as far as like should be pushed on everyone. Well, it's funny though, like, so I that weekend I did last year with the organisation, I left and I said to my friend, like, every man should do this. Like, every man should do this. Doesn't matter like who you are or like what's going on for you. It's like everyone should do it because it's just like self-discovery.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as people like needing something like this, I think that it's really great because it's there if people do choose it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. It's such a cool incentive. I reckon it's such a good idea. Because it's like you see them everywhere for women. It's like there's so many. Personally, I don't think they're marketed that well, other than Amber's. I think hers looks pretty groovy as. But yeah, all the other ones can be a little bit too woo-woo for me. It's not cringe, as they say.
Cringe. But yeah, that's the thing with like a lot of this kind of stuff is that there's this woo-woo element.
Yeah.
That's like, oh cool, if you're already in team woo-woo, you're going to go to it.
Yeah.
And for the rest of the population that is not involved in any of the woo-woo, they look at it and they're just like, ugh.
Fuck no. Yeah. No, it can be daunting, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But definitely necessary, hey. So you say you'd see a lot of importance in men gathering and talking. What's it like? What's the...
So like, importance in men gathering and talking?
Yeah, and I guess women kind of just naturally just gather, spitball, talk about everything under the sun. Like, what's the view like from the other side of the coin?
Well, I guess like men are different in that we talking and communication doesn't come as freely as what it does to women. Like, I speculate that like it's evolutionary.
Yeah.
In the, a hunter-gatherer society, the men were out hunting. Yeah. And the whole thing was just shut the fuck up. Don't make any noise because the thing we've been stalking might hear you and run away.
Fuck, true.
So it was like all the communication wasn't as encouraged.
Yeah.
And then like if the women are gathering and child-rearing as well.
Yeah.
And it's like, hold this baby.
Yeah.
Berries are over it. There, don't eat those. They'll make you shit your pants. There's yams under there. Go and dig them up. There was like this massive need for language to develop and communicate.
Yeah.
So like women have far more communicative ability naturally from what I have noticed.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Yeah, whereas men seem to not have that as easily accessible. So there's like within these groups, it's like there's plenty of room for men to actually talk and like basically encouraged to talk about what's going on for them.
Cool.
from like an emotional level, and it's men holding space for other men to do that.
So that's what they need, just like a lending ear, or just like
a lending ear, but then also like a space where they feel quite held.
Yeah.
For that.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's completely new territory.
Yeah.
For a lot of men, it's like they haven't really had much. A lot of men have not had much exposure to a place where they can freely talk about what's going on for them emotionally.
Yeah.
So it's like it's almost like a place to practice that.
Yeah. I can't imagine it not coming naturally to just like talk about things, which is where I think that I struggle the most as well. Sometimes probably more when I'm into a guy, just wanting to talk about everything and and it not really being possible.
no and like men have not had much practice doing that, so it doesn't come as naturally, and then it's like, is it hardwired as well? In which men are just like neurologically different.
I honestly think so, from my studies. Even just my studies of gel and stuff, just seeing how, like, you wouldn't even know sometimes that he's having a hard time, and then he'll crack, and then he'll be like, oh, the thing is, this happened, I'm like, and then it just takes an ear, and then he can just talk about it and stuff. But, more emotional, I guess.
And Gel's ability to communicate is really good too. But for like the average bloke where they've had communication modeled to them from their dad that was a workaholic, or like if they weren't at work, they're at the pub, and it's like they basically didn't see anything.
That's tricky.
And then it's like, then you go to school and it's like you share some sort of feelings with your friends and they destroy you.
That's true, it's true. You get walloped in school,
So just get kicked out.
Fuck it, true.
And then society.
So feel now.
Society as well, in terms of like just the general zeitgeist or whatever. Like that, like as a young boy, you go through that stage of being like being really small, and like you fall over and you scrape your knee and someone comes along and picks you up and cuddles you, and then all of a sudden that happens and you start crying, and one day someone goes, hey, stop crying, boys don't cry, and you're like, I want to suppress all these down for the next fucking 70 years of my life.
Fuck true. That's what it can be, hey?
I
do have some memories of Dad saying things like that to Joe. And it just being like, a bit harsh, eh? Just like, let the boy cry. Tears are coming up for a reason. So are you noticing, like, as consciousness shifts, collectively men are opening up more, or even in clinic, are you noticing any correlations, or?
I think I think things are changing. I think it's a gradual process, and it's also like, the circles that I'm in, people are probably more open.
Fair. It's good though, you're choosing those circles too. And you're emanating that energy.
Exactly. But like, you see more and more people are opening up and showing more capability in that realm.
That's cool. That's what I want to hear. Is there something that you can say that baffles you about women?
Fuck, where do I start?
Actually, that's funny as. I thought we were so simple, eh? But I also realise you're just as complex as...
I guess it's just like the way we view the world is
Yeah.
just so different.
Yeah.
Like, so incredibly different.
Yeah.
Like, Rihanna and I at Bunnings today and getting shit for the clinic.
Yeah.
And my whole objective is just get the shit and pay for it and then leave as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And Rihanna's is as well, but then like once she's in there, there's this like floatiness of just like, oh, I'm gonna go and like, and then a little bit, and I gotta check this and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, I can't understand that at all. But it's like there's a very different way of like she's processing information very differently to me.
Yeah. Would you say you're more on a mission? You want to get it over with, and
basically.
Yeah. Right. I see.
So with you and I talked about it, but Alistair Armstrong with not Keys to the Kingdom, the Queen's Code.
Ah, yes.
She talks about how women process information differently to men, and basically what she coined was men have singular focus.
Yeah.
Where we're processing one piece of information at a time, and there's a list of priority.
Yeah.
And there's like right at the top of the list, it's the thing that I'm focusing on.
Yeah.
And then we've got number 2, number 3, all the way down to a million.
Yeah.
Right? And but our attention can only really hold that one thing.
Yeah.
And then and right at the top of the list, or like 2 or 3 things poorly.
Yeah.
Whereas what she says with women is that there's diffuse awareness, in which women are taking in and processing multiple pieces of information simultaneously.
Yeah.
So, like, walking into a room and, like, if you go out to dinner with a guy, this is a fun experiment. So, go out to dinner, even if it's, like, a friend or your brother or whatever, and just, like, look, as you're walking through the restaurant, look at things and observe them and notice them.
Yeah.
And then just sit down and be like, hey, did you notice this and this and this?
Yeah.
And, like, 90% of the time they're going to be like, fuck you talking about? No. Whereas, like, you will just, like, absorb it all.
Yeah.
And then process it and think about it and whatnot. Whereas the man will just be like,
pizza.
Cool, pizza. There's my seat. I'm just going to go there.
Truly, that must be hard, eh? Even the other day I was at Gel's, we were having dinner, and then I did the dishes, and like an hour later Gel just goes, who did the dishes? And like, they were like just didn't even notice that I did them. It was just so funny, and like so many times, like I'll just like get in, just like kind of clean his room or something like that. It sounds so heavy that I clean his room sometimes. It's give and take, and then he'll just be like, yeah, it would just be like, fuck, you did that quick or something like that. It's really funny. Or you see it. I think I'm trying to like understand how different we are and just accept that a little bit more, and just kind of be just curious about it a little bit more as well. Just trying to, because I always have to like understand it first, because it seems so foreign to me to not be able to juggle 80 things at once. And do them quite well as well. Whereas we like don't really have that capacity. And that list that you talk about of priorities, does that change as like life goes on?
And like from situation to situation, so it's like you'll be focusing on one thing, so you're like finishing an email or text message, it's like that's 100% what your focus is on. And then if someone yelled fire, well, then it's like, oh cool, fire now becomes priority number 1. Got to deal with that. So it's like our focus just kind of like shifts to whatever is at the top of the list. But with that, with men and women, what Rihanna and I try and practice is like, if I'm engrossed in something, and she needs my attention for whatever reason, she'll either ask for it in a way it's like, I see you busy, like in like a minute, when you finish that, can I have your attention? And I'll be like, oh cool,
Okay.
And I'll finish doing what I'm doing and then like turn to her and be like, alright, cool.
I'm here.
I'm like actually present. And I'll try and ask for that too. If she starts talking to me and I'm engrossed in something, I'll be like, oh, can I just have 30 seconds?
Yeah.
And like she's cool with that, and that like because the reality is that I can like, you know, I'm doing that text or that email and then she's talking to me, yeah, and I'm doing neither well at all. I'm bullshitting the whole thing and I'm like paying 10 or not 0, but she's
got 10%.
pretty much. And then like, because my attention is like switching between the two, I can't fully lock in to one and complete it. So I'm not hearing her and I'm not actually finishing the text or whatever it is I'm doing.
That must be tricky. Yeah,
but it's like you just gotta manage it.
even Gel at the creek the other day, it was funny. He was like sending a text and we were all just trying to get his attention. There was like maybe like 5 or 6 of us, and I was like, Gel, and he was just like still sending the text, and then somebody else was like, Gel, and then after like honestly like 10 minutes of trying to get his attention, I just go, MILF. And then he just goes, like he just like fully just went bang like that, and it was like the funniest fucking moment ever. He was just
that jumped up to number 1 on the priority list.
MILFs are always at the top. It's like MILFs work, everything else, like. But it was just like that was such a funny thing that made me laugh.
So good.
Okay, so. Yes.
I don't think I answered your question at all.
No, you did. That we're hard to comprehend, and it went off on heaps of different tangents that I wanted to talk about anyway. But yeah, I really like the idea of the one-track mind, like understanding that and being able to just accept that that's how you'll work. Because I think I've felt at the bottom of a man's priority list a lot of times, and then when you see it kind of like that, it's like, it's not something to be taken personally. It's just that. Yeah,
that's it. So like when you can get offended that the man isn't like 100% focused on in a certain situation, 100% focused on the woman in a certain situation. But it's not necessarily like because we're not focusing on you doesn't mean that we don't care about you. It's just that we like can't do 2 things at once. Essentially. But like then there's other circumstances in which like you may not be a priority to a man, and then that's a totally different thing.
That's sick. I wanted to talk a little bit about the Keys to the Kingdom book actually, which is, I didn't realise it was Alison who did both of them. What a banger. I'm actually reading it, but can you talk a little bit about the concept of the book, just how I mean, I've written a bit about it, but I feel like you know a little bit more than me. Like,
what was your, like, considering your female view of it?
Well, I mean, the female view is that there's just, like, different sections of what you are. I can't remember what the first things. You start off as, like, pages or something? Oh, yes, here it is. The process of every man's development. Knights are basically exploring, not necessarily interested in building their empire yet. They're more just having fun, exploring, and... basically you have to do that for a while to then decide that you want to build your kingdom and build those foundations, and when you get to that stage you're a little bit more sure of like the way you think about the world, and sure about I guess just everything really.
I think like the way that she puts it is that there's like these stages of development of a man throughout his life. So like they starts with a page, and the page is like the man that isn't old enough to go and do all the things. So it's like almost like a teen. So like when we're in our teenage years, you're like, oh, I can't wait to like go out like pubbing, clubbing, whatever it is. I can't wait to go to music festivals. I can't wait to like drive a car. I can't wait to go on like whatever it is. There's this like, I want the autonomy essentially. Because there's when we're that young, we're still not developed enough to have that full responsibility and autonomy. And then like you turn 18 or whatever it is, and then you the next stage is the knight. So then you become the knight, which is you have the autonomy to do all those things. So you go out and like you get the driver's license, and you go out and like you go out partying, and you go out like traveling and exploring, and but the whole point of the knight's stage is for adventure.
Yeah.
So it's like you want to go and slay the dragon, you want to go and like travel to distant lands, and it's exploring an adventure.
Yeah.
So that stage goes on for a bit until eventually the man kind of looks around and looks at other men and the things that they have.
Yeah.
And they kind of go, oh shit, like I can't keep adventuring and then build a kingdom.
Yeah.
So like there's a point where the knight turns into the prince, because the prince is like before the king. So the prince is essentially building the kingdom.
Yeah.
And then like you get to the stage of being the king, and then that's when you've like got your kingdom.
Yeah.
And there's more after that. I can't really remember off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because like you're in your 20s, so like that stage of being that night stage is like pretty much like late teens to probably 30s-ish.
Yeah.
And it's different for everyone.
Yeah.
But like there's this lust for adventure that men have throughout that stage, and it can be different for different people.
Yeah.
Where people might like want to do heaps of travel, go see the world.
Yeah.
Other people might want to go and like just eat a bunch of drugs and go and party. Other men like might have different things that they want to explore, but it's like there's this real lust for adventure. Yeah. And you see it in men in their 20s.
Oh, yeah, you can see it for sure.
Yeah, they're like hungry for it, and they want to go out and like do fun shit.
Yeah.
And the idea of going to work every day and essentially being responsible kills them.
Yeah.
Absolutely kills them.
Yeah.
And they're just like, no, fuck that. I don't want to do that. I want to just like have fun. I want to go out. I want to do adventures.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, fair.
And within that, there's also like chasing after women and like trying to conquer in that way as well.
Yeah.
Ethically or unethically. But there's this real lust for adventure and exploration and just like trying new shit.
Yeah.
But eventually there's a point like late 20s, early 30s, and once again different for different people.
Yeah.
But there's a point where you kind of go, fuck, this can't go on for forever.
Yeah. Is there a pain that comes with that, or?
I think, maybe not always, but generally, probably. Yeah, generally.
You can see it. You can fully see it in people who are what's the word? Yeah, traversing that. Yeah.
That change.
Yeah. Even in ways I've seen it with gel to a degree. Yes. But
yeah, for me, like I had throughout my 20s I had like heaps of adventure, heaps of fun and whatnot. And like through my late 20s I was single and I was like out and partying and doing fun things, and then like there was this point of just like, oh fuck, this can't go on forever.
Yeah.
And then you see those dudes that try and keep it going on forever.
Yeah, I know.
And you're like, oh,
they're one of us. Yeah, no, it's true. Do you reckon there's a stage like that for women in ways, or?
I think it's different.
Yeah, super
different.
Yeah,
I actually don't really, I'd be like completely speculating, but I think for women there's that whole like full-on adventure kind of mode. It's not as it doesn't seem like it's as strong, and whether that's cultural, like it's ingrained into us, or whether that's like once again like neurological, biological programming, who knows. But I don't really feel like it's the same.
Could you tell me a little bit about that safety thing we talked about, how you said that men are safe until they're not, women aren't safe till they are.
Yeah.
Do you think that would probably have a little bit of
probably a little bit to do with that
Yeah.
adventure thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that that's like a hard wiring as well.
Yeah.
In that which, like, as a man in the world, you don't feel as threatened
Yeah.
in life generally
Yeah.
as what a woman would.
Yeah.
And it's like men are generally like physically more capable, physically stronger.
Yeah.
And actually, we'll put it this way, like,
That's true, you can say it.
like, easy way, like, as a man, I know that 50% of the population probably can't overpower me.
Yeah.
Whereas as a woman,
Yeah.
it's like, you know that 50% of the population probably can overpower you.
Yeah. In a fight?
Yeah, in like a physical kind of primal way.
Yeah. It's
So like, say, I guess like women are orientated towards safety and men don't really even think about it.
true. Yeah.
Like,
No, it's true. You can see it as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's super evident in like, I walk through a car park with no one around and I don't even fucking think about the safety.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going, keys in hand, walking to my car.
Yeah.
I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
But for most women, they're like, oh, cool. So, like, assessing the threats
Yeah, for
of
sure.
that environment and thinking, like, I really hope no one jumps out of, like,
Yeah.
around a corner or
Yeah.
anything like that. Whereas for me, I'm just, like, oblivious.
Pizza.
Pizza. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, I see that. I think that's something I'm lucky because mum's a bit of a, she's just always just been like, just instilling less fear in me. So I don't feel like I have that as much.
Good.
Which is really good, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm happy to go for a run at night or whatever. But I've definitely been caught in some weird situations though. Like, but yeah. I don't want to live. I'd rather just like not live in fear and then let those situations just happen.
Yeah.
Than be like, oh, where are they? What's going to happen?
Yeah.
Rather be more on the pizza end of the spectrum.
Yeah. But like with that, the weird situations.
Yeah.
It's like
I've handled it, but
you've handled it.
Yeah.
But like for me in that situation, I'd be far less threatened.
Yeah. No, it's true.
I'd just be like, oh, okay, cool. Like this weird thing's happening.
For sure.
But like I wouldn't be like automatically, oh fuck, I hope I don't get wrecked.
Yeah, well, I went straight, like, some dude, I was just, like, getting into my car, and this guy was just, like, at the front of the car, he was like, stop, and I was just like, I'm not gonna stop, and he was like, get out, come on, and I was just like, something weird about this dude, and then he just started getting super aggressive, and just being like, get out of the car, and I just drove it straight into him, and it was just like, fuck it, I just like drove away and I was like, yo, like, I just fucking just drove away and was just like, that was sook, like, every part of me was just like, honestly, just like live for that kind of adrenaline rush. But yeah, no, that's funny. It must be nice to feel safe. Like,
but generally more.
But to feel a little,
generally more safe than what it would be for your experience.
Yeah.
It's funny with like, not funny, but like with that whole thing of like being approached by a dude, because like, I do jiu-jitsu and I've done martial arts, and there's been so many people there's so many women that I've talked to like, and they'll be like, oh, I'd love to learn some self-defense, and they'll do the karate hands.
That's me.
And I'm like, oh, cool, but like it's not like you learn a little course and then you're good. It's like, you know, you need to train something continually all the time to actually be able to physically defend yourself, blah 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 blah. But like the best piece of self-defense advice that I can give any woman is be a cunt. In those
perfect.
In those situations where like someone comes up and wants your attention, or they like are up in your business, the reason that they can do that is because it's easy.
For sure.
So if you're just like, no, I'm not fucking interested, fuck off,
get on my fucking face, true.
well then it's like, then most likely what will happen is that that dude, if he did have ill intentions or whatever,
He'll just be like,
he'll be like, oh, you fucking cunt, and then kind of leave you alone. But like, women are conditioned to be nice, and they're meant to be like the nice girl, and then like you go through that whole like then that carries on into carries on into adulthood, and then you in those situations where you're like, oh, I better not be mean or rude or whatever, because like I've always been told to be really nice.
It's true. I even like, I have this thing where like old guys always just gravitate towards me, like no one my age, but and they're always like, here's my number, let's go for a surf, and without fail every fucking time I'm like, sounds good. I just grab their number, like and they'll just grab mine or whatever, and I'm just like, not that I need to be a cunt, I can just be like, yo, not interested. But it's funny, that nice I don't want to reject the 60-year-old man that's asking me to go for a surf date, like, but
but it's so conditioned,
super conditioned. I think Dad was very much like, he wanted me to be the nice girl, the nice, don't cause a ruckus, but sorry Dad. Here, if you're listening, nah, you won't listen,
but just so clear.
So
love you, Dad. Oh god. So going back to the safety thing. So like, it's an important concept to understand for both men and women, because women are always orientating themselves towards safety. And then that affects men, especially in relationship, where women want a level of safety from their man. And they're this is from Way of the Superior Man by David Dita. And it's a good one. But he talks about how women will always test men. And it's like, can be completely unconscious.
True.
But like, there's always this just seeing what's going on. Like, and you'll unconsciously always be just testing to make sure that the man is safe. To be just like, alright, cool, he reacted that way that time, we'll test him again. Yep, he reacted the same, that makes me feel okay. I know I know what's going on there. And there's always this like unconscious testing, and it's like it's really, really important. Like, I'm only really understanding this more recently. But it's such a primal need that women have, that like, you guys will just throw things out there and just like unconsciously or consciously test to make sure that we're going to react the same, and that we're going to like basically be accountable. So like,
that's exactly it.
And that's
so attractive to accountability.
But that's it, because it's like, the accountability thing is so sexy, because it makes you feel safe.
100%.
When it's like, a man is in alignment with what they're like thinking, saying, and doing.
Talk actual dirty to me.
Well, then it's like, oh cool, everything's in check, and I feel like my nervous system can actually just chill out for a sec.
It's like having a nap, hey.
But it's like, it's the pushback against that is that like, everyone has their own individual layers of bullshit. And like, they might not even understand that they're not being accountable. I think for myself, it's like, I always got to check that accountability thing. And like, I'm out all the time. Where I'm like, fuck, I didn't say do the thing that I said I'd do. Fuck, like, and then like, I have to check it and try and kind of like tidy it up. Clean it up.
It's a good, it's even the whole process of just talking about that has made me just like look at myself so much and be like, holy fuck, your words and actions need to align a little bit more, girl. Like, but I think no one really ever pulls me up for things. I'm constantly the one that's like, I don't really have a circle of people that are like, yo girl,
you gotta do this.
I guess you and Ray would have a bit of a thing with that, where she'd be like, yo, and then you'd be like, hey.
Definitely. The thing that like open up a fucking can of worms here, but
I like it.
with men need men to keep them accountable.
Yeah.
And I don't really fucking understand why.
Yeah.
But there's this thing of like when other men are like, hey, I need you to do this thing, and or like you say to another man, I'm going to do this thing.
Yeah.
There's this like level of accountability that we adhere to.
Yeah.
In this strange way.
It's the brotherhood.
The brotherhood, yeah. Which is why having men's groups and stuff.
Yeah.
It's really good because there's opportunity for that.
Yeah.
And there's this thing of like, oh fuck, I better do that thing I said that I'd do.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think it is like, I think it's a primal thing. But everything I'm saying is like, it just goes back to together and bullshit.
Yeah, we're all just a bit primal today. Nah, that's good.
But in a tribal setting.
Yeah.
Like where you relied on everyone within the group.
Yeah.
If there was that one man within the group that was not like in alignment with their thoughts, words and actions, well then they'd be dangerous.
Yeah.
And then, like they would be a liability for the team.
True.
And then the other men would be like, oi, you're out.
Yeah.
Go and fend off the wolves by yourself.
Go hang out with the chicks, make some berries. That's funny. Okay. Right. I like that. Do you notice any themes in clinic where, like, in terms of relationships, like things where couples kind of come head to head and like a simple communication technique could kind of like help them? Like, I think that the biggest kind of struggle in relationships is women kind of understanding men and men understanding women, and understanding that if we're all balanced, we just amplify each other's existences, really.
Pretty much. But if there's any simple things, like the example I gave before about like with my attention being drawn to one thing, and then asking for like, oh, can I have 30 seconds to finish this? So that I can actually give you my full attention. Instead of just like bullshit and do both things. And then like on the other end of the spectrum, like when women notice that the man's like deeply in something, that they're like, oh cool, hey, looks like you're busy. When you finish that, can I have a minute of your time? And it's just like that, that acknowledging our different processing styles, I guess. Otherwise, like, I mean, communication, it's like, it's an individual journey.
True, and there's so many styles and variables,
As far as like any kind of take-home advice for any of that, it's like developing communication really comes from understanding your own inner emotional world as well. For a man, understanding like his own feelings, so that he can then bring them to a conversation and there can be kind of chat around it. I think that's like a fundamental and a real basic from a male perspective. That is. Because like if you don't understand like what's happening inside you emotionally, well then it'll just push you around and you'll act in weird ways where you'll like be pissed off at something that happened 2 mornings ago and you'll bring it into a situation that has nothing to do with it. So it's like understanding all those kind of things as men is really important, because it like helps us enter into a new situation and not bring the bullshit from the past into it, essentially.
For sure. Well, I guess that goes for the other way around too as well, for chickies.
It's the same. It's the same thing.
I'm definitely guilty of that. Hey, when one fucking random thing ticks me off, I'm just like, let it steamroll. I was reading this thing about women apparently use like an 80% more words to get to a point. We just fucking go around, we beat around the bush. I do it with you all the time. I'm just like, and then you're just like, all you really needed to say was that.
Yeah.
But do you think you guys thrive off just like simple communication, hey, bang, 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 or because I'm just so inclined to want to just like, again, I'm doing it right now. You've got an answer, and I'm just like adding another layer on. It's just like I just want to make sure that I'm not being misunderstood. So I use a lot of words, and I just want to make sure all grounds are covered. That's why I do that. But then I do notice that guys can just be like, what? What are you trying to say? Just tell me simply. Yeah, you can just see the fucking question marks just like...
Yeah, popping up.
Yeah.
And I guess it's like, with that, that processing of information being like a priority list.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, cool, there's the thing I'm focusing on here.
Yeah.
So it's like, when we're in conversation and it's like, oh, cool, so there's that, like, this thing, and it's like, alright, cool, so I'm focusing on that, and then you're throwing in like another thing and another thing and another thing, and it's like, okay, cool, so which is number one?
Yeah.
Where's my attention actually meant to be?
Yeah.
And it would be like, there'll be 7 or 8 different things simultaneously.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I'm like, well, what's the underlying truth of it? Like, what's the underlying thing that we're actually trying to get to?
Yeah.
And like, I totally respect that around wanting to not be misunderstood.
Yeah.
And like trying to give as much information to be as clear as possible. But for men, we're just like, we need the one thing to focus on. So it's like, it can be like, especially if you're in relationship, this is a male perspective, in relationship, when you're having a fight with your female partner, and there's like, they'll be like, oh, and then this thing, and then you made me feel like this, and then that thing happened, then you did this, and then it was like that, and it's like, that priority list is just fucking trying to reorder hard, and it's like, I forgot what you said after the third thing. Like, I got no idea. It was just like, oh fuck, I just get bombarded. And then that makes me flustered. And then I get discombobulated, and then that will kind of make me go, well, fucking fuck the whole thing. Like,
no, true.
Flip the monopoly board.
Okay, everything makes a lot more sense now, and makes me just want to act differently in ways, and just be a bit more clear, a bit more to the point with. But also, I think you have to get really clear with what your intention is behind what you're bringing up. That's what I'm realizing. Because I've been so known to just beat around the bush, and I'm like, what am I even trying to do here? All I want is this one thing, and I just go, tangent. Keep you on your toes. No, that's really cool.
But it's like, that's a really hard thing though, like to, because it's like, that's just how you process. Like I personally feel that women need to speak and to talk a lot to kind of understand themselves.
For sure.
And there's this kind of like, oh, and then this and this and this, and it's like, and you probably have it where you like talk to a girlfriend and just be like, oh, I just need to talk. I just need to like,
just need to get it out.
To get it out. And just like let it run, and then it makes more sense once it's out. And you can kind of just forget about it. It doesn't weigh so heavy anymore as well. Just quantifying it, just being like, even if it's stupid. You're just like. But like for men, we have less need for the vent. Actually, like what you said before about like practical real world advice is like, for a man recognizing whether a woman is wanting to vent or needing a solution. I've definitely noticed that, even with the girls, where like they'll be constantly bringing up the same sort of like pain point. And I'm just so used to just listening and being like, you're perfect the way you are. And then the other day I was just like, fuck it, I'm going to offer up a solution. And it was like an atomic bomb. It was just like, the chick literally just wanted to fucking she just wanted to be gone. And I was just like, I'm just trying to help. But I was just like, instead of listening, I'll offer up a solution. But it's, again,
intuition just failed me on that one. Should we just read the room?
But it's like it's
accountability, bro.
it is tricky because it's like which it's like in those situations where someone is just like talking about all these problems.
Yeah.
For a man like because we're just driven by problem solution.
Fixie.
Yeah. That's where we're at. Our head. That's how our brains work, right?
No, it's true.
So like when we're there, we're just like, I can fix it.
Yeah.
And we wanted to like jump in and just be like, oh well, if you do this and this and then we can, or I can do this and I'll help you do this. But like for men, it's really valuable to kind of like check yourself in your own head and be like, do you think that she's venting?
Yeah.
Or she wants a solution?
Yeah.
And then even qualify it if it's like in a situation that calls for it. Just be like, hey, were you just like hoping to talk about that, or did you want me to try and like help you?
Yeah.
And no,
Louise.
90% of the time it's like, oh no, I just want to speak about it. It's like, oh cool.
Yeah.
And then like as a man, all we have to do is just be present and be like, oh yeah, that sucks. Yeah, she is a bitch.
Yeah.
Like,
nah, that's funny as. It's true. It's very true. I think the majority of the time I just want to rant. Like, I'll never forget my ex-boyfriend, me just being like, I wasn't feeling good about my body, and I was just like, first time talking about it, and I was just like, not feeling the best, and he was just like, it's all good. It's your lower body we need to work on. We'll just get into some boxing.
Here's a gym membership.
Literally.
You fat bitch.
Yeah, basically. I was like, we'll do it together, and I was like, that was nice. But, so fucking funny, just full fix-it mode.
Just like that full like problem solution, like let's just get it done.
It's a pure intention though. It's a beautiful thing. It's just like, if there's a problem, why not fix it? But it's just, I think if it's like recurring, it's constantly coming up, then fucking fix away. But it is good to get in touch with what the woman might need. And there'd be a common theme, for example, with Ree when she's ranting about the same thing and you're just like, girl needs to rant.
I'm just like, let it run.
Run wild.
Like, she'll get it out. But like, there's a level of patience that I need like within that where I do want to jump in and be like, I'm going to try and fix the thing. So I do need to be patient and be like, oh cool, I'll just let her run. Speaking of patience, flipping it with male and female. One thing that that Rihanna does really well is she will wait until like I'm finished speaking, and then she'll like give me another 10 seconds. So it's like, because it takes me a bit to formulate, and for me to kind of like put my words together and whatnot. And I'll be like blah 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 saying the thing, and then there'll be this little pause, and then I'll be like, and
you do that, it's very
heaps. And I don't know if it's strictly a male thing, but I think for a lot of men it can be like that. So but like when you see me for example, and I've paused and there's just this like tick 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 tick, you're just like 10 9 8 7 and you just like you count it down, and then eventually like get to the point where it's like, you know, that 10 seconds rolls by round and it's like, oh, he's done speaking, now I'll speak. Because I guess why it's important is because women communicate differently with women than how they would with men, and men communicate differently with men and how they would with women, whereas men will very rarely talk over the top of each other. Because then that's like fucking
that's it. That's what I thought.
Whereas
disrespect.
Women seem to be able to do that easier.
We do flow really nicely. It's like, no, it is a bit of a thing with women. It's just like something you don't even need to talk about. But sometimes you get excited and you talk over the person, but it's always like,
But there's just this like,
there's something there. It's unspoken, but.
And I think like once again that like processing of information, because men are like focusing on one thing at the same time. It's like if there's multiple pieces of like chat happening simultaneously. It's like I'm
Too
out.
much,
I
yeah.
can't actually process that.
Yeah.
Whereas for women, you guys probably can.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
when you're bantering back and forth and talking over the top of each other a little bit,
Yeah.
then that works. But like for women communicating with men, like talking over the top of us, it's just like, blah, like everything goes completely out the window, and then we're like so confused because we can't focus on the what's being said.
Yeah.
And it's just like an absolute blur from that point.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Fuck, sounds frustrating. Sounds sounds hard to be in there.
It is and it isn't. It's like it's actually
also,
it's really easy. It's just like from your perspective, like it just would sound like the idea to me that you guys are bringing in multiple pieces of information and processing them simultaneously. That just sounds like a fucking nightmare. Like that sounds like the worst day ever.
It just happens on its own.
But it happens on its own.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And for us, in the way that we view the world and whatnot, it happens on its own.
Yeah. I guess for so long I've wished to be a dude for so long, and I think recently I've been like, why I wish that.
Why I wish that.
Then again, I could just be a dude if I wanted to. These days.
Just go for the next lifetime.
Yeah.
You get reincarnated as a bloke and...
Yeah, you just wake up tomorrow and decide. Shots fired. Hello, Queen.
Hello.
Good. How you doing? Oh, we've already been going for an hour.
Sorry, please.
No, you're good. We're pretty much...
I don't want to interrupt any flow.
No, you're good. We're pretty much wrapping it up anyway. I was just going to ask one more important cue.
You go.
So you're good. Thanks, Queen. Can you tell me, I usually just wrap up with something that's like gotten your attention, something that's excited you, maybe a book you picked up or a conversation you had?
Oh, recently I re-listened to The Alchemist.
Oh, cool. Banger, eh?
Banger. And I hadn't read it since, like, I read it in maybe my early 20s. And I listened to it on Audible. And I think it's one of those books that no matter where you are in life, there's always going to be like just gold in it. And you'll just like pull it out and just be like, oh fuck, that relates to me so much right now.
Yeah.
But like, oh, beautiful book.
It is a good book and just like such a pleasure to pick up as well.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
100%. Loved it. Yeah. That feels pretty good to me.
Sweet.
Feels really good to me, actually. Otherwise, I'll probably go on for another 3 hours.
I will have to do more then.
Yeah, I'd be keen, actually. I'd be keen. That would be lovely.
Yeah, there's heaps you want to talk about.
For sure.